What up, everybody? Good morning and happy Thursday. DK Show up on the air on your radio dials at 105.1 FM. Uh, Stream it up over there. You got the Sports Talk app. Download it, take it on the go. Smart devices, smart speakers. Video streams also up and rolling currently on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. But happy Thursday, everybody. Appreciate you making us a part of your morning, your start of the day here. What do we got on a good old game plan for us this morning? We're going to talk some Brewers, Brew Crew picking up another win against the Cubbies and winning the series, the final series between the Brewers and the Cubs, 3-2 victory. Another tight one there, thanks to Contreras with a go-ahead RBI double in the eighth inning to give the Brewers the lead, and the Crew holding on. It was a bullpen start essentially for the Brewers yesterday, and got it on. Wilson coming in, got June, who pitched 4 innings. Junis pitched. Jacob Junis pitched 3 innings. Pyomps coming in and locking it down with a couple of Ks for his fifth save of the season. So nice little bullpen start yesterday for the Brewers. However, not to be a little Debbie Downer here, but not great news before the game. Christian Yelich. It doesn't look good. I should say, it doesn't sound good when it comes to Christian Yelich. There's reports out there that he could potentially undergo season-ending surgery for his back. They're calling it back inflammation. But when you hear Christian Yelich, if you didn't see any of the comments that he said before the game and such, it's kind of doesn't paint the greatest of pictures. He's going to be seeing a spine specialist today to discuss the next steps, including the possibility of season-ending back surgery. Christian Yelich yesterday saying, everybody plays through stuff, but sometimes you just can't. That's kind of where we're at this point. Your body won't cooperate with you. For me, aside from when I broke my knee, this has been the one thing that I've had to deal with. It's frustrating. I've dealt with it a lot during my career. I feel like I feel like it's kind of affected me in a negative way at times. I've been able to play at a high level, but it's one of those things that's held me back a little. So that's where it's frustrating. What are you going to do? But also, though, there's a potential that I can finally get on the other side of this. Finally, when all is said and when all is said and done, we'll see. It remains to be seen, I guess. So, yeah, not great. He also went on to say too that the next step is to decide, quote, what's going to be the best for the near future and into the future. Ken Rosenthal from The Athletic, New York Times and such had a report out there that kind of reiterated the possibility of Christian Yelich undergoing season-ending back surgery. So now with the trade deadline less than a week away, just a few days away here, that changed things. Does that change some priorities for the for the Brewers? Does it change needs for the Brewers? Um, Man, it's hard not to say so, right? I mean, you kind of look at the lineup, and maybe now you want power left-handed bat to put in the middle of your lineup. I mean, yes, you have depth in terms of the outfield with Mitchell and Perkins and Cheerio and those guys, but maybe you need that power bat, that power left-handed bat there, whether it's an outfielder or coming from someone else. So, but man, what a downer, especially for the season that Christian Yelich has been having. Now I know it's nothing's official yet, but boy, it doesn't sound great. Doesn't sound great. When obviously that's going to be a question for that people are going to have surrounding the Brewers right now, whether they make a move because of the Christian Yelich setback. Kurt Hogg, who covers the Brewers, asked Pat Murphy if the Yelich setback could impact the Brewers' trade deadline strategy. And in typical Pat Murphy fashion, what do you suggest we do? Go get Vlad Jr.? I mean, for what Yelly does for this lineup and this clubhouse, I don't know that there's too many players who can replace him. I mean that. He's got a special niche here with us. It's a huge loss, and we've had some huge losses this year. I can name their names if you'd like me to repeat the list, but this is huge no matter how serious. Whatever number of games we lose him for, it's serious. Off day today for the Brewers as they return to Milwaukee and get set for a 3-game series with the Arizona, or excuse me, I was going to say Arizona Diamondbacks with Miami coming to town here. Brewers currently still first place comfortably in their division right now, over 6 games over the Cardinals. Pirates, they're up 7 games over the Pirates. Cincinnati in 4th place, Brewers up 10, and then the Cubs at the bottom, 11 games back from first place. So we'll talk some more Brewers and kind of talk a little bit more about the trade deadline coming up. Some of the latest rumors and rumblings. I haven't quite seen anything yet in terms of the Brewers and maybe another bat and such. But man, it's hard not to think, would they at least entertain that, or do they promote from within again? Tyler Black, I don't know, but definitely stinks. So. Also, we're gonna talk a little. We'll talk a little football here this morning. Still, nothing out there in terms of a Jordan Love contract or any notes surrounding that. So pretty quiet there. Sounds like Eric Stokes, though, he had himself a day yesterday at practice. It seemed like he was playing incredibly well, and as we know from our conversations, we've talked quite a bit about Eric Stokes and how big of a year this is for him too. Not only just play wise, but turning the corner, hopefully from his injuries and some of his soft tissue injuries and such over there. So, but it sounds like he had a good day at practice yesterday. But we'll talk some other football. ESPN has an interesting list. So their NFL writers, their NFL Nation peeps ranked the top 25 NFL players of the 21st century. Just the 21st century. All right. So we're going to go through this list and kind of take a look. There are a couple of Packers listed on this list. All right. There are a couple of Packers on there. We'll discuss whether you think that they're too high, too low, just right, that sort of thing. I think you can probably guess at least a couple of the Packers there. So remember, this is essentially like 2000, 2001 up and till kind of what current right now. So, but yeah, we'll take a look at that and see whether you agree with the list or not. And remember too, like for some of these guys, they may be a little bit lower because of, well, maybe they were in the 90s, right? The 20th century. Maybe the majority part of their careers was a lot of the key accomplishments was in the 90s or such. So, and then if you have taken a look at the list there, give me some guys too who you think maybe should maybe kind of got, I don't know, should have gotten listed in the top 25, should have been higher. Those type of dudes over there, because I got a couple that I think they got their next 5 on there, the first 5 out as they call it. So snubs, biggest surprises, all that good stuff. Have a little fun with that conversation coming up a little bit later on here too. So we'll hit that up. We got some outdoor tidbits with Mr. Jake Boakes here. So get your questions on in right now. Text us on that Shoe Doctors bullpen line 715-830-1912. Hit me up with those texts with those questions, so I could get to Jake here at about 8:30 for our outdoor tidbits as we wrap up the month of July. And I don't know about you guys, but once we get to August, I start to feel that little get that little hunting itch a little bit more there too. So get those questions, or if you still have some fishing questions too, send those puppies on over. We'll get those to Jake, and he'll help answer some of your questions. We'll do a little receiver defer coming up about an hour and a half now. So if you got any good receiver defer questions that you would like for us to hit up and chat about here, send those puppies on over too. All right. So let's get things rolling here this morning. We'll talk some Brewers. Brewers fans, I want to hear your thoughts on the Christian Yelich news. How much does this? I mean, I think it hurts the team. There's no question about it. But how much do you feel like, we talk about needs by the trade deadline, and for the longest time it's been starting pitching, and I don't think that's changed that much. But how important do you think it is now for the Brewers to acquire another bat, to acquire maybe another power left-handed bat, a guy that you can put in that 3 spot? How important do you think it is? How much do you think this injury changes what the Brewers are gonna do by the trade deadline? Because remember yesterday, we were talking about a report that the Brewers could potentially be buyers and sellers trying to toe that line, and now how much does that change with the Yelich news? So, let's hit that up. I wanna get your thoughts. I wanna get your reactions, out there, all right? So, let me know. 715-830-1912 with a quick text out there. Let's take a quick break. We'll get the leadoff going here this morning, all right? I wanna hear from you. Comment on the video streams, texting line, all that good stuff. We'll get things rolling after these few words. If your vehicle is due for an oil change, or maybe it's time to change out those old tires because they're getting pretty darn bare, it's time to schedule your appointment at ASAP Used Auto Parts in Eau Claire. ASAP Used Auto Parts in Eau Claire, located at 1330 Menominee Street in Eau Claire. That's right across the street from the Dodge, the west side of Eau Claire there. Just got my oil changed over there just the other day, too. Just got her done. Quick service, awesome service. They check your tires and everything over there, too. So make your appointment by giving them a call. All right, give them a call at 715-514-4501. Or if you're looking for some high quality used auto parts too, that's your go-to location. Or whether it's you're doing your own repairs on your vehicle, or maybe you're kind of working on building a car and such. Maybe it's a hobby and such. So go check it out. All right, ASAP Used Auto Parts in Eau Claire. Hey, also too, speaking of our outdoor tidbits, we're looking for your questions, but also visit sportstalk1051.com and click on that outdoors tab. Everybody's got a good hunting story, a good fishing story, memory, or anything like that. We want to help share some of those. So go visit our outdoors section at sportstalk1051.com, and we want to help share some of those stories. So check it out. Some more details over there. We got the first matchup in our Sweet 16 for our bracket challenge, most underrated Wisconsin sports athlete of all time. So we kick off the Sweet 16 with a green and gold matchup, Chuck Cecil versus Amon Green. Chuck Cecil versus Amon Green. So head to the Facebook group page for the love of the game. If you're not a member over there, request the votes, and somebody will approve you over there. But go vote. Otherwise, it's on Twitter at DANKASPER. Amon Green or Chuck Cecil, who's going to advance to the Elite Eight, where they will face the winner between Tremont Williams, who barely edged out William Henderson, or Lynn Dickey. So, all right, go vote. Go vote. We'll do another one coming up in the 8 o'clock hour, too. Probably, I think we'll do a Badger one. We'll see. Anyways, let's get things rolling here this morning on the leadoff. Let's talk a little Brewers and a little baseball. So, good news, bad news. Good news, Brewers picked up another win yesterday. 3-2 over the Cubs, 8th win of the season. They had already secured a season series win over the Cubs earlier, but how about another series win against the Cubs? That's always good, right? But the Brewers picking up a 3-2 victory on a bullpen day for the crew. 8th inning, William Contreras hitting that go-ahead RBI double to break that 2-2 tie. Both ball clubs putting up a run each in the first inning, but took a little bit there. Cubs took the lead in the third. Brewers tied it up in the 6th, and was it that I say 8th inning, 9th inning, top of the 9th inning? Excuse me, top of the 9th inning for the for the Brewers to for Contreras to hit that RBI double, and then Payamps closing it down in the bottom of the 9th inning there too. So Brewers picking up that 3-2 victory, escaping Wrigley, escaping Chicago, or leaving Chicago. Escaping is a little dramatic. Leaving Chicago with another series win. Up 6 games over the Cardinals for first place in the division. And now just a few days away from the MLB trade deadline. Brewers have the off day today. But maybe the needs for this Brewers team have altered, slightly changed a little bit with the Christian Yelich news. It doesn't sound great for Christian Yelich for the rest of this season. Doesn't paint the greatest picture. Yelich saying everybody plays through. This was before the game yesterday. And he was officially placed on the 10-day IL. Now, again, that doesn't mean it's like, oh, he's only going to miss 10. No, they can extend it. They can, all that stuff. He's going to see a specialist later on today, it sounds like. But Yelich saying before the game, everybody plays through stuff, but sometimes you just can't. That's kind of where we're at this point. Your body won't cooperate with you. For me, aside from when I broke my knee, this has been the one thing that I've had to deal with. I've been able to play at a high level, but it's one of those things that's held me back a little, so that's where it's frustrating. What are you going to do? But also, though, there's a potential that I can finally get on the other side of this when all is said and done. We'll see. It remains to be seen, I guess. Pat Murphy saying it's a huge loss, and we've had some huge losses this year. I can name their names if you'd like me to repeat the list, but this is huge. No matter how serious, whatever number of games we lose him for, it's serious. So, Yelich also went on to say, I was doing nobody any good out there, so I kind of just decided there were big at bats late in the game, and I was definitely not the right person to do that. Being stubborn and going out there wasn't going to do anyone good. And let's just say it for what it is. This sucks. It stinks. Yelich was having a fantastic season. All-star season. I mean, he was in the All-Star game. Before the All-Star game, he was looking healthy. He had missed a month with a back issue, but he looked like he was pretty darn healthy, stealing bases, looking good at the plate. And now this pops up. Another back issue. Another back issue with Christian Yelich. And maybe we won't see Christian Yelich for the rest of the season. Hopefully, we'll get some positive news with this whole thing, and maybe it'll just be a short stint after he sees a specialist. But when you've already got reports out there saying that he could have season-ending back surgery, and you kind of read between the lines from what Christian Yelich is saying about trying to turn the corner and maybe an opportunity. I'm kind of paraphrasing here, but maybe an opportunity to move on from this thing and hopefully never have to deal with something like this again. It kind of paints the picture of we may see the end of Christian Yelich this year, and we won't see him again till next year. And it stinks because your team's in first place, and he's been a big reason why your team has been in first place. And with the trade deadline coming up here, you have to wonder, does it change things? Does it change priorities for this Brewers team? I mean, I think we all would love to see a starting pitcher. I mean, that has been the big need out there for pretty much the entire season for the Brewers. But now you just have to wonder, it's like, okay, does another bat inch a little bit closer to that? Does it inch a little bit closer to that? Especially maybe a left-handed power bat to put in the middle of your lineup there. How big of a need is this? How big of a need does anybody out there, and let me know by hitting me up with the text and such, but does anybody out there think that, all right, now another bat has maybe moved up in the priority list for this Brewers team? Do you feel like that's the case? Or maybe it's still starting pitcher. Now, we know they've got options to fill in for outfield. I mean, it's a position of depth. Frelick, Perkins, Mitchell, Joey Weimer, still down there too. Jackson Cheerio. They've got options. But the thing that is missing from all those guys is kind of a consistent power guy, a consistent left-handed power guy. Friedlich's not going to get you power. I mean, honestly, of all those guys, Joey Weimer showed some power last year. There's no doubt about it. He showed some power, but also high strikeout numbers and a lot of inconsistency from the offensive side of the plate. And we know Jackson Cheerio has displayed some power as well this year. But again, you look at what the numbers that Christian Yelich has provided for this team, and I don't know if there's anybody right now on this roster that can instantly step in and fill that role. And it may be tough to just find that guy out there that can step in and fill that role. It sucks. It absolutely sucks. Now, there's been names out there for the longest time about, position players and bats and all that. I mean, you've had Luis Robert out there. I mean, does Mark Canna come back to the Brewers as a rental? Do you bring him back and kind of have him as a DH? I mean, he is an outfielder too. He could play a little DH there. But I mean, is Mark Canna a guy that they bring back? I mean, Tommy Pham, we know there was been some issue, a little bit of like what was it earlier in the season? Little disagreements between Tommy Pham and some Brewers players and such. I mean, Jesse Waker, do you bring him back after the failure of last year? I mean, he's having a nice year with the Nationals now over there. So I mean, there's and I think that's the thing is like if you're going to bring in a bat, if you're going to bring in a guy that you're hoping to add a little bit more power or a little bit more pop to the lineup, I almost feel like it should be that rental player because assuming Christian Yelich will be back next year and you still got all those young outfielders and such, you just kind of wonder, is it okay, maybe you get like that rental player, a veteran guy. And a couple of those guys, I mean, the Brewers are absolutely very, very familiar with. No question about it. So, or do they look at, like some depth that we've talked about it, and it's kind of been mentioned out there, some power depth at a corner spot like third base. You don't want to take Joey Ortiz out of the lineup too much, obviously, but do you want another option over there that can provide you a little bit more power, a guy who can play third and maybe a little first or DH and such, a little bit of depth back there. But I think this is something Matt Arnold is gonna have to look out at that at that wire or at these teams and see who's potentially available and try to bring in another bat. Why can't we have anything nice? Can't we have anything nice for the Brewers? So, but even if they do acquire somebody, even if they do bring in somebody, other dudes on this team, a little bit more pressure now. You got to step up. Everybody, all hands on deck. Okay? That's Bryce Terang at the top. That's William Contreras. That's Willie Adames. That's Reese Hoskins. Okay? It's those guys. It's those dudes. It's Jackson Cheerio, Sal Frelick. I don't care who's in the lineup. Everybody else has to step up their game just a bit more. Just a little bit more. You can still win. This is going to be coach speak now. You can still go out there. You can still win this division. You can still get into the postseason, make a deep run. How many times have we seen teams who've been missing their best player, one of their best players, and they go on, I don't care what sport it is, but they go on and they still win a championship? Braves did it, right? Braves just did it a while ago. Now, they were a little bit loaded there too, but still, it happens. We can do it. They can do it. But it's going to take everybody. It's going to take everybody to kind of up their game a little bit more. Even if they've been having all-star seasons, great seasons, like a Contreras, may need to up it a little bit more. Joey Ortiz, those guys, everybody, all hands on deck. But that also maybe, with Yelich out of the lineup, going back to the question, does it move the needle? Does it move the need of acquiring a bat? Maybe on the flip side of that, it just makes it more important for the team to go out and get pitchers now too. It's like, all right, if we're losing an important piece in that offensive lineup, it makes the pitching need a little bit more important. Does that push the needle for the Brewers to like, okay, maybe we be a little bit more aggressive in trying to get one of the top starting pitchers out there? Does that move that needle? Now, I don't think it'll be, Skubal or anything like that. I mean, that's going to take a lot. But does it maybe that second tier? That next group of guys? Maybe. We'll see. Do you look at Toronto for some of those other, rental players? I don't I know there was some talk. I was kind of scrolling through social media, which can be a dangerous thing to do. Last night's Brewers, seeing what Brewers fans were kind of talking about. I mean, they were like, "Hey, Justin Turner, bring him in over their DH. He's a guy who could play first and third, and all that." I mean, Brewers were interested in Justin Turner a couple of years ago, but so far this year, he's 236 with 6 home runs. So maybe gives you some position versatility in terms of the infield, but we shall see. We shall see. They've got options within their ball club. But again, is it the best options? Do they need a little bit more pop in the middle of that lineup? All right, let's take a quick break. We'll get to some of your thoughts. Maybe. There we go. More baseball talk. We'll go through some of the latest reports, rumors surrounding the trade deadline coming up after these quick words. Need some updating when it comes to your flooring, whether it's at your work or maybe at your home. Maybe you want to kind of do a little man cave makeover and some space over there. Well, you need to update that flooring over there because that's a big part of it. So if you're not sure where to go, that's simple. That's Carpet City Flooring Center in Eau Claire. Carpet City Flooring Center in Eau Claire, Wisconsin's premier flooring store. Go check them out at 3109 East Hamilton Avenue in Eau Claire. Whether you're looking for some new carpet or tile or luxury vinyl planks, or you're not quite sure what would work in that space, go visit the friendly team there and they'll help you out. That's what they did for my space. Was that last year already? Just last year. We needed some new floor downstairs in our basement in the main cave there. And I wasn't quite sure what would work in a certain area because we had tile coming up from the previous owners and just wasn't laid properly in that. And boy, the entire team at Carpet City Flooring Center, they knew what to do. They fixed it all, and it looks amazing down there. It still looks brand new down there, even a year later. But if you're kind of in the same boat, or you want something different when it comes to your flooring game, go visit the experts at Carpet City Flooring Center in Eau Claire. We've got a new episode of the Man Cave podcast that dropped yesterday too. We chatted a little bit with Brian from the Card Collecting Club, so we chatted some sports cards and such over at um, Ultimate Authentics on the west side of Eau Claire. So check that out. The Man Cave podcast brought to you by our good friends from Hy-Vee and Toyson Ford. Toyson Ford too. Make sure if you're in the market for a new vehicle, go visit our good friends at Toyson Ford in Chippewa Falls. All right. Let's go through some of the latest rumors and rumblings and all that. And I feel like this is probably this upcoming weekend we're probably going to get a little bit more maybe some more movement or maybe some more chats in that because I mean you still, especially when you look at the National League, maybe you still got some teams that are trying to figure out whether they're going to be, buyers or sellers at this thing. Now, MLB.com, if you kind of use them as a source, they've got how all 30 teams can upgrade at the deadline. And the Brewers, I mean, it's starting pitching. Milwaukee has been actively trying to upgrade its rotation, first with the unsuccessful Dallas Keuchel experiment and later with the trade for Aaron Savali. DL Hall could be back in August, but the rotation behind Freddie Peralta, Colin Ray, and Tobias Myers is thin, presenting the need for an arm or two that can deliver innings. So, I mean, again, it's the same thing out there. It's the same stuff that we've been talking about the last couple months. I'm just curious to see if that changes a little bit here with the Christian Yelich news about him, um, being out potentially for the rest of the year, and will they acquire another bats? And just how active will the Brewers be? Kind of a fun piece up at Brewers.com if you want to take a look at it. I forgot to mention it yesterday, but Wade Miley, he kind of had his thoughts on whether the Brewers were going to be active at the trade deadline. And last year, he kind of called it, if you will, with a couple of moves and such. And we know Wade Miley. I mean, he's pretty darn active with the team right now, even with him being out and with an injury and such. But it was an interesting piece by Adam McCalvey at Brewers.com. Last year, here's a little bit from it. Last year, he predicted the Brewers would trade for Carlos Santana and Mark Canha weeks before they arrived in Milwaukee and helped carry the club to a division title. This year, with only a week to go, Wade Miley's crystal ball isn't offering the same clarity. Quote, I haven't been nearly as on it because it doesn't seem like we're doing anything. Wade Miley said. That's not any inside info. That's just a feel. So you got one player who's obviously not playing, but still with the team and with everybody on there. That's his feeling that maybe they won't make a whole lot of moves. But again, I think the Yelich thing changes a lot. Changes a lot. We had one texter say, "What about Dalton Varsho coming back to the good old state of Wisconsin? Another outfielder plus defender out there has a little bit of pop." Hey, I don't think you would have too many people around here that would be disappointed if that were to happen. I don't know if that would be an option. I don't know if that's a realistic option or such. But hey, I mean, I wouldn't be upset about it. I know my kid wouldn't be upset about it. And again, I don't think they're. I think probably a lot of local people would love that one. Absolutely love that one. So, but I mean, that dude, it just amazes me too. And we talked a little bit about Dalton in our latest All Aboard the Eau Claire Express podcast with Dale Varsho, and it's up wherever you listen to your podcasts and such. But it just to me, it's so cool to see a guy who was catcher, and as Dale mentioned too, he played little third base for the Express when he was here a few years ago. But just what he's able to do in the outfield, the speed and the reads that he has, and some of the catches. I mean, what a plus defender out there. And again, I think he should be easily in the conversation for a Gold Glove for some of the plays that he's made in the outfield out there. So I had a couple people say go get Mike Trout. Well, that might be a little too expensive for the Brewers. And again, this is another guy that he's struggled to stay healthy here a little bit there too. So, but yeah, C-Bomb says, I love the Varsho idea. Big Worm says, what happens in the next 4 days? Love signs. Or the crew get a couple of quality dudes before the trade deadline? Easy answer, I would like both. I'd like both, but I saw somebody, it was Diana Rossini, insider for The Athletic. She had a note about the Jordan Love contract, which I hope isn't right, but she kind of just casually said in one of her, was it a piece or maybe it was her podcast, but said could be a few weeks. I'm like, weeks? I don't want weeks. We want like hours. We want like maybe a couple days, but weeks. Come on now, that's not close. That's not close like we were all told in that. When I saw like weeks, I'm like, no, we don't want that. Yeah, this was Diana Rossini, the Athletic, expects the Packers and Jordan Love to reach an agreement on a long-term extension at some point in the next few weeks. According to Rossini, both parties are optimistic that it will get done, and based on her talks with sources, she expects Love to become the highest-paid quarterback in the NFL. And he may only hold that title for a few weeks, as the Cowboys could take that contract with a record deal for Dak Prescott soon afterwards. So, I mean, I hope it's not a few weeks. Better be hours or days at this thing. Few weeks. If we get into like middle of August and all that, then I'm like, okay, now come on now. Let's stop this and just get this thing done, please. Not a few weeks. Don't want that. All right. Let's catch up on a couple other texts here. This from Eric. Eric saying, I still think starting pitcher is a bigger need for the crew. As you mentioned, they have some depth at outfielders, albeit not as good as an offensive option that Christian Yelich has been this year. But I definitely think they have to look at adding another power bat to the lineup along with another starting pitcher. Gregory is saying that I think it's still starting pitcher, but definitely moves up in terms of need for the Brewers to add another bat to put in the middle of the lineup. Another texter saying this really sucks for the Brewers, but also gives the crew a chance to see maybe what they have with some of their younger outfielders like Garrett Mitchell and Joey Weimer. I think Sal Frelick and obviously Jackson Cheerio are locks, but this is an opportunity for those other guys to maybe solidify their chances or improve uh, their trade options for the future. Some other names that maybe I would like to see is Taylor Ward from the Angels, says Ben. He could be an option out there. Otherwise, I don't think the Brewers are going to get a bat that they're going to have to pay a lot of money for, maybe just a rental like a Mark Canha that you mentioned earlier. Yeah, I don't. If I had to go with my gut, I feel like the priority is still a starting pitcher. But I also feel like now Matt Arnold and the front office are going to look for a rental bat. Whether that's a guy who could play the outfield or does it really matter at this point? I do feel like they're going to look for one now. Whether they actually pull it off, I don't know. I don't know. But I think you at least have to do your team, the Brewers, a service and look for some options out there. Again, this is operating under the assumption that Yelich will, in fact, be done for the year. It's not official, but it's hard to not read between the lines here. So, all right. So, coming up in a few minutes here, I want to talk about, first of all, I want to talk a little green and gold. Got some numbers on Kenny Clark's contract here, by the way, too. Cap for this year went down about just $1.1 million for Kenny Clark's deal. But we'll kind of take a look at that. I want to go to ESPN's top 25, ranking the top 25 NFL players of the 21st century. Let's have a little fun with this one, all right? Let's have a little barstool banter with this one, man cave banter, We're sitting around and guys got this one wrong or this guy should be higher and that sort of thing. I want your thoughts. I'm going to go through the list right now. Give you a few minutes, and then let's hit it up in the next hour. So number one is not a big surprise. Tom Brady, okay? It's Tom Brady. Number two is Patrick Mahomes. Number three is Aaron Donald. Remember, this is 21st century, okay? 2000 to now. Peyton Manning's number 4. Randy Moss is number 5. Calvin Johnson is number 6. J.J. Watt is number 7. Ray Lewis is number 8. Aaron Rodgers is number 9. Darrelle Revis, 10. Ed Reed, 11. Charles Woodson, 12. Rob Gronkowski, 13. Travis Kelce, 14. Drew Brees, 15. Troy Polamalu, 16. Brett Favre, 17. Adrian Peterson, 18. Michael Strahan, 19. LaDainian Tomlinson, 20. Marshall Faulk, 21. Warren Sapp, 22. Joe Thomas, 23. Tony Gonzalez, number 24. And then Derek Brooks, 25. Their first 5 out is Jonathan Ogden, Larry Fitzgerald at 27, Orlando Pace, 28, Marvin Harrison, 29, and then T.O. Terrell Owens coming in at number 30. All right. What are your thoughts? Who's maybe the biggest snub, biggest surprises, players that should be moved up? Do you think Aaron Rodgers should be higher? Do you think he should be higher on this list? Do you think he should be higher than at number 9? Do you think Brett Favre should be higher or lower? What do you I don't think there's going to be too much debate on number 1 with Brady over there, but let's have a little fun. Let's have a little back and forth on this one, okay? Let me know. What do you think? Let's have some fun with this. So, and do you think maybe Larry Fitzgerald should be a guy that should get a little higher? I mean, he ranks second in NFL history in receptions and receiving yards, only behind a guy named Jerry Rice, for crying out loud. So, you think he should be higher? Think he should be in the top 25? What do you got? Let's have a little fun with this, all right? Hit me up with some texts. 715-830-1912. So we're going to take a look at that, and then we'll talk a little green and gold coming up in the next hour, too. Don't forget to get your outdoor tidbits questions in. Got any outdoor questions for our DNR warden buddy, Mr. Jake Boakes? Let us know. And then if you got some good receiver deferred questions, I'm game for that too. We'll hit up a little receiver deferred coming up in about 45 minutes or so. And don't forget to vote for our latest matchup right now. Last I checked, Cecil was winning in the Facebook votes, but Amon Green was winning and the Twitter votes. Got a feeling this might be another close one out there. So make sure you head over to our Facebook group page and in the Twitter account to vote for that. Our first matchup to see who advances to the Elite Eight. All right. 1 hour in. We got a couple more to go here. Stick around. We'll be back after these news updates. We'll talk a little football, but keep your Brewers thoughts coming too. All right. What do you think they should do with the Yelich news? Big priority to add another bat or stand pat in that department? Second hour on this Thursday morning of July 25th kicks off right now. Also, the Express back in action after their All-Star break. They're going to be at Carson Park tonight to take on Thunder Bay for a couple games. Perfect timing here for the Express to make up some games. It's a couple games back from first place. Thunder Bay up at the top there. So quickest way to make up those games and climb up in the standings is to beat the teams ahead of you. And the Express have that opportunity tonight for a little Christmas and Christmas in July event for your promotion at the Express game tonight. So head on down. First pitch is at 6:35. Get down there, support the Express. Hopefully, we can be talking about a second half championship over there. Just a few more games left. When you look at this regular season, a couple weeks left here. What do we got? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 more home games at Carson Park. So take advantage of the weather and get on down to the ballpark here. So shout outs also to Eau Claire Post 5319U Legion baseball team. They've advanced to the state tournament with a win yesterday. Chippewa Falls Post 7717U team advanced a little bit earlier this week too. So best of luck to all of our, I know CRBL. We got some teams like the Cavs clinched a playoff spot too. Osseo, Merchants and such. So best of luck to all of the local baseball teams still in action and punching some tickets to some state tournaments. And I know little league teams too going to a bunch of tournaments and trying to get to some state tournaments and national tournaments and regionals too. So best of luck to all the local baseball teams in action. Little throwback Thursday coming at you. Let's go back to 2004. Lance Armstrong won his record 6 consecutive Tour de France this day in 2004. 20 years ago, this happened. So, all right. Also, 1978, Pete Rose broke the National League record for consecutive base hits as he got a hit in 38 straight games. That's your little throwback Thursday shout out this morning. Hey, also want to remind you we got the Casper Classic a week from tomorrow. We've got some more prizes coming in here too. Gemco Surfaces donating a sweet cheese board over there, so that's going to be available for one of our raffle prizes. But big thanks to everybody who has donated some awesome prizes for the for the Casper Classic. Got that nice bottle of scotch, a little Victory Scotch over there. We've got some sweet cards from Service Master. Donate over there. We've got Packers football from the Packers themselves. Park Ridge Distributing with that golf bag over there too. Spectrum Industries with a gaming chair. We've got a Giannis jersey. We've got a Jordan Love jersey. Myron Construction donating that cooler with a bunch of Bloody Mary supplies in there, including some pickles and some olives and some pickled asparagus, some beef jerky, and some snack sticks over there too. So got some good stuff. Definitely the bottle scotch, by the way, a nice Highland Park, 18 years old. That's a good bottle over there too, if you know your scotch. So you can check out some of the photos we posted up. We've got some Brewers tickets that we're going to be raffling off for that game against the Cleveland Guardians coming up on August 18th. So that could be a good game over there too. Plus, we'll have a $500 Tilden Gun gift card that only a limited amount of raffle tickets for that one will be sold over there. So that's coming up next Friday. Big thanks to Princeton Valley Golf Course for hosting us again this year for the outing. Also thanks to Muldoon's Menswear, our green jacket sponsors this year. Gemco Surfaces, our putting green sponsors this year. We've got Hy-Vee, our Champions Meal sponsors. Park Ridge Distributing is our beverage sponsors over there. Resonance Branding Company, Title Belt sponsors this year. Shout out to Carpet City Flooring Center, always been with us every year we've done this. AJM Automotive Service, The Elbow Room, Edward Jones Financial Advisor, Kelsey Nikolai, the Doodah Gin, Hannah Sellner Agency, American Family Insurance, Shepke Chiropractic, Shoe Doctor, Service Master Chippewa Valley, Myron Construction, and VFW Post 305. Looking forward to next Friday. All right. So I gave you that list, people. All right. I gave you the list. in case you're just joining us, we'll get back to some Brewers chat here too, but keep your thoughts coming. Should the Brewers make a trade to acquire another bat if Christian Yelich is in fact done for the year? If he's done for the season, should the Brewers add another bat by the deadline, along with another starting pitcher too? So, but yeah, let me know. Hit me up with some text, 715-830-1912. But I gave you this list just to revisit it here. ESPN, their NFL Nation writers. And I like looking at these and kind of, seeing what people think once in a while and such. And, I'm a big history guy anyways. But ESPN has their top 25 NFL NFL players since 2000. Since 2000, ranking the top 25 NFL players since 2000. Now, we know that they did the top 100 athletes from 2000, right? We went through that a little bit earlier last week. But now they've got the top 25 NFL players since 2000. Tom Brady is number 1. Patrick Mahomes is number 2. Aaron Donald is number 3. Peyton Manning is number 4. Randy Moss is number 5. Calvin Johnson's number 6. J.J. Watt, number 7. Ray Lewis, number 8. Aaron Rodgers, number 9. Darrelle Revis, number 10. Ed Reed, number 11. Charles Woodson, number 12. Rob Gronkowski, number 13. Travis Kelce, 14. Drew Brees, 15. Troy Polamalu, 16. Brett Favre, 17. Adrian Peterson, 18. Strahan, 19. LaDainian Tomlinson, 20. Marshall Faulk, 21. Warren Sapp, 22. Joe Thomas, 23. Tony Gonzalez, 24. Derek Brooks, 25. Now, they got their first 5 out. Jonathan Ogden, 26. Larry Fitzgerald, 27. Orlando Pace, 28. Marvin Harrison, 29. And then T.O. Terrell Owens, number 30. Who got snubbed? Who's too high? Who's too low? Is it just perfect? You're like, oh, that's nothing wrong with that list at all. I mean, number 1's easy. It's Brady. I mean, come on. When you look at the resume and you look at the Super Bowls, come on. It's Brady. And I get the Patrick Mahomes number 2 over there, especially when it's kind of trending that maybe he could potentially add some more championships to his resume. Number 3, with Donald over there, again, I mean, he absolutely dominant on the defensive line. I mean, you're talking about a guy, 10-time Pro Bowler, 8-time first-team All-Pro, 3-time Defensive Player of the Year, tied for the most of all time. That's a pretty big resume. You got Peyton Manning, though, on there too. I mean, 5-time MVP, 2-time Super Bowl champion. I mean, he's got a lot of the quarterback stuff out there. When I think of a cerebral quarterback, it's Peyton Manning. Maybe didn't have the strongest arm, but I mean, you want to talk about the most intelligent guy lining up behind center? Peyton Manning's the first guy that comes to mind. So, I mean, if you want to say Peyton Manning's number 3 and flip-flop Aaron Donald and Peyton Manning, I honestly, I probably would agree with you. Heck, if you want to put Peyton Manning at number 2, I wouldn't probably argue with you too much either. I think Peyton Manning, you can make the case to go up a little bit higher. Randy Moss, I mean, no question, the talent is there. The freak, for crying out loud. I think number 5, though, I mean, Randy Moss, one of the most talented, if not the most talented wide receiver to have ever played the game. Now, I didn't say best. Easily one of the most talented. The thing where if I have to put him down, if I were to put him down a couple of spots on this ranking, it would just be the kind of inconsistency, and that was all, Randy Moss. type of thing, like, take some plays off and that. I mean, the Raiders era for Randy Moss, nothing to really brag home about. So I mean, but you still look at the numbers he put second all time and receiving yards. Again, I think for me, most talented wide receiver out there. But there was those couple of years, those 2 years in Oakland, '05 and '06, had just over 1,000 yards his first year, 8 touchdowns, and then 3 touchdowns, 553 yards. And you could say you look at the quarterback, was Kerry Collins and such, and yeah, I understand it. But I don't know, 5, maybe put it a little bit lower there. So, then you had Calvin Johnson at number 6. Number 6 over there. Okay. I mean, Calvin Johnson, I mean, you want to talk about Megatron over there? I mean, just a physical beast. When you factor in his size and his speed, I still love the story when he was at the combine and wore somebody else's shoes and ran the 40. I mean, when you talk about physical specimen and his athletic traits, I mean, there's not many people compared to him. So, number 6, okay. 7, J.J. Watt. I mean, J.J. Watt to me, I think if he, towards the end of his career, would have been able to stay a little bit healthier, and that's not something that he could have prevented. But he's also a 3-time Defensive Player of the Year, tied for the most, 5-time first-team All-Pro. Only player with 20-plus sack seasons in multiple seasons. Is it almost fair to say that maybe when you kind of look at some of his accomplishments, is he a little bit, just a little bit underrated? Maybe. I don't know, but I almost feel like if he would have been able to stay healthy and rack up more, I think his accomplishments might move him up a little bit higher in this list. Ray Lewis had 8. I mean, I feel like there's like no middle for a lot of people when it comes to Ray Lewis. He's either one of the greatest linebackers, middle linebackers of all time for some people, and for some other people are like, no, a little overrated. I don't know if there's too much of a middle ground between them, but when you look at his accomplishments, I mean, he's the only player with 40 sacks and 30 interceptions since sacks became official in 1982. And I get it. There's probably maybe some people too with his antics and such that kind of put him down a little bit lower on this list. To me, Aaron Rodgers at number 9, I think he could be a little bit higher. I honestly feel like Aaron Rodgers could probably be a little bit higher than number 9. I mean, you look at his touchdown to quarterback ratios over there. He's the all-time leader in that. Rob Demoski said he was the anti-Brett Favre in that way, yet Rodgers carried on Favre's remarkable run of success in Green Bay before getting traded to the Jets. Matt LaFleur perhaps described Rodgers' impact best when he said near the end of the quarterback's time with the Packers, a lot of people have been rewarded, quite frankly, because of his ability to go out there and play. I think you can make the case for Aaron Rodgers to move up a little bit higher. When you talk about talent from the quarterback perspective, from 2000 to now, I think you can move Aaron Rodgers up a little bit more. I think you can move him up a little bit higher. Darrelle Revis at number 10, okay, probably the top corner from 2000 on. Ed Reed, I mean, you want to talk about top safety out there? Yeah, Charles Woodson, number 12. Big C Wood fan. Big Chuck Wood fan over there. I've got no problem with him on this list. Rob at 13, then Kelsey at 14 there. I think that's going to be a debate when Kelsey's career is done. I think you're going to have a lot of football people debate Gronk or Kelsey. When Gronk called it quits, called it, a career, you had a lot of people, Gronk, best tight end to play. I mean, he was in the latest top 100 NFL players of all time. I think now Kelsey's going to be part of that debate between him and Gronk. Drew Brees at 15. Palomalo at 16, Favre at 17 here. Um, and remember, this is from 2000 on, so it doesn't count what he did in the 90s. You got to factor that. So that to me, when you look at from 2000 on, I was a little surprised they did have Favre in this thing, but I get it though too. I was actually more surprised from the aspect that they included him on here. But when you look at it from 2000 to 2010, he's got third most wins with 104 wins over there. So Adrian Peterson to me, I think could also be a little bit higher. He's at number 18. I mean, I think what's remarkable from him is how he recovered so quick from when he tore his ACL and his MCL in his left knee on Christmas Eve. And then the next year, he was back in the starting lineup for game one and then wins MVP. I mean, to me, I think Adrian Peterson, you got to look at, some of the numbers that he did. He was the last non-quarterback to win the MVP award. I think he could go up a little bit higher. Strahan at 19. I mean, 01, he had that sack, tied the record, got a Super Bowl in 07, but maybe a little bit too high for me. LT at 20, yeah. I mean, that early 2000s was like the LT and Marshall Falk. Marshall Falk coming in at number 21. Those running backs who could run the ball, catch the ball in the backfield. You had Sean Alexander for a couple of years there mixed in there. Warren Sapp, okay, maybe still a little, I don't know. Joe Thomas, 23. Yes, I think you got to give some love to offensive linemen on here. Tony Gonzalez, 24, then Derek Brooks. Jonathan Ogden, I mean, you want to talk about a staple over at the left tackle at 26, first five out. I think you can make the case for him a little bit higher. I think you got to give some love to these offensive linemen. Larry Fitzgerald, to me, should be in the top 25. I mean, I think one of the more overlooked, underappreciated wide receivers ever. He wasn't a prima donna, didn't have any drama around him. Was he the most, did he make some of the great catches like a Calvin Johnson or a Randy Moss or those guys? No. But we're going to talk about Mr. Consistency and just pretty darn solid. And you look at how many dang quarterbacks the guy had to play with when he was with the Cardinals, for crying out loud. And he ends up with his career of 121 touchdown catches, 17,492 receiving yards, which is second in NFL history behind Jerry Rice, and he's second in receptions. Entire career with the Cardinals, could have went somewhere else to try to get a ring. To me, Larry Fitzgerald is one of get that guy up higher in this list. He absolutely deserves it. He needs to be in that top 25. Just because he wasn't flamboyant or anything like that. When you think of a wide receiver, you think of those guys that, me. Not Fitzgerald, man. Not Fitzgerald. All right, your thoughts on ESPN's top 25 NFL players from 2000 to now. You can go check it out at ESPN.com. Let's take a quick break. We'll talk some more Packers. We got some details on Kenny Clark's contract. How does that look in terms of cap number and such? We'll take a look at that. Still no updates on one Mr. Jordan Love, but Eric Stokes, he had himself a very good practice yesterday, it sounds like. So we'll hit that up and talk a little bit more football. But first up, we got a quick break, and we'll be back in just a few minutes. With hunting season just a couple of months away, if you're in need for a new deer rifle or maybe a new turkey shotgun or maybe something for duck hunting, bear hunting, and such, head on over and visit our good friends at Tilden Gun. Tilden, you can also check out their website, tildengun.com. Biggest selection, best prices in the area. Even though it's July, you may not be thinking about hunting season coming up here, but this is the time of year that you should be thinking about hunting season and making sure that you're getting ready for the upcoming hunting season. So you can visit tildengun.com or check out their sweet, I mean, it's kind of like a sweet man cave over there, but you can check out their shop located at 12427 90th Avenue in Chippewa Falls. Also, make sure you send us some of those photos so we can put them up on the Tilden Gun photo board at our outdoors page at sportstalk1051.com. Also, honored to be partnering up with Big Brothers, Big Sisters of Northwestern Wisconsin. We're looking for some bigs. All right, we're looking for some volunteers to be some bigs out there, to be a big brother to some boys or big sister and such. So if you're interested in maybe dedicating just a small amount of time to make a difference in a young person's life, reach out to Big Brothers and Big Sisters of Northwestern Wisconsin and make sure you're following along on their Facebook page too, because once in a while they'll have a waiting list Wednesday little spotlight. And I mean, they have around like 80 kids currently sitting on their waiting list, awaiting, a big. It was last month. I was kind of looking at them. You had a young boy, 14-year-old, who loves hunting and fishing and looking for a big that would take him fishing and such. So I mean, if that's something that you can help out or you want to help out with, go visit Big Brothers Big Sisters of Northwestern Wisconsin. Their Facebook page. You can also check them out with their website, bbbsnw.org. All right, and see if you can dedicate some time to help out and make a difference in a young person's life. All right, so we're gonna try to help spread that word and try to get some volunteers. And I know a lot of you listening right now, you'd be really good big brothers and big sisters out there. So more details. Check out their website. Check out their Facebook page too. So, all right, let's talk a little green and gold here. Kenny Clark contract details are out now, as we know, right? When we hear a contract, we don't take the 3-year, $64 million for face value. We want to look at like the cap charges, the guaranteed money, all that stuff. Where is it that maybe the team can get out of the contract if it doesn't work out? So we got some details now for Kenny Clark's contract here. And looking at it, again, I'm a salary cap nerd here. Excuse me. This is from Over the Cap. So this year's cap numbers, 26 points. We're going to round it up. $26.4 million, which is about $1 million less, a little over $1 million less of a cap hit than what it would have been this year. Then the next year, in 2025, his cap number is actually only $20.4 million. Then 2026, it jumps up to about $31.4 million. And then the final year, when he's age 32 in 2027, the cap number is $27 million. Now, you got some dead money on here. If there was a chance for Green Bay to, they wanted to get out of it, they wanted to get out of this contract, it's probably, if they want to get out of the contract before it's set to expire, you're looking at that 2027, because 2027 $7 million in dead cap space. I mean, 2024 is 41, 2025 is 27, 2026 is $17 million in dead cap. So even at 32, I mean, unless Kenny Clark, there's something really going on, and they, like a David Bakhtiari situation, knock on wood, that doesn't happen. It sets up nicely, I think, for Kenny Clark to have this contract and for the Packers to keep him under contract, throughout the entire thing. That's not to say they won't do any restructures or anything like that. I mean, because that's almost foregone conclusion with all these guys, right? I mean, it's a foregone conclusion at this point. So, but yeah, I'm just looking a little bit at what was his. So you got pro rates on him. Okay, we don't need to go into the weeds here or anything like that. But all right, interesting. Packers practice though yesterday. Still nothing. Nothing new in terms of Jordan Love's contract. Although Diana Rossini from The Athletic made a note that Packers and Jordan Love are optimistic that they can agree to a new deal in the next few weeks to make him the highest paid player. And I'm like, don't be a few weeks. Few weeks. That to me doesn't sound like they're close, for crying out loud. A few weeks. What are we doing? I want like hours. I want maybe a couple days, not a few weeks. So hopefully it's not a few weeks. I feel like that's not close, like everybody says, but ugh, I don't like that. But outside of Jordan Love, yesterday at practice, it seemed like it was Eric Stokes' day at practice. Eric Stokes come away with a couple picks and such. And I don't want to like dissect practice and shorts and all that, but I mean, got to give a little attention to a guy. The other day it was Rashawn Gary having himself a day of practice, and it seemed like it was Eric Stokes. It was Eric Stokes' day. Jaden Reed returned to practice, so he's off the inactive list there, so he's ready to go. They're easing him on in and such. So good to see that. But yeah, it was Eric Stokes' day yesterday, and we've talked about how big of a year this is for Eric Stokes. Not only in terms of just his play, but like turning a corner and trying to stay healthy and being on the field. Packers are counting on Eric Stokes to be a guy, like one of their top guys. They did not spend a high draft pick on a corner like a lot of people, a lot of us thought that maybe they would invest a first, second round pick in getting a corner to pair up with Jair. They didn't do that. So they're rolling with Jair, Stokes, Keyshawn as a slot guy, and you got Carrington Valentine as your top four corners out there. So there's no doubt they're putting a lot on the shoulders or the leg of Eric Stokes. And really, we got to go to his rookie year to really kind of get a good gauge of maybe what Eric Stokes can bring to the table. Because his rookie year, he kind of got thrown in there with a lot of injuries. That year, Jair was hurt, a lot that year, 2021. Played in 16 games, ended up starting 14 of them. But since then, 2022, he played 9, and then he suffered that gruesome injury, played 3 just this past year. Not able to fully come back from that injury. And then when he did, he had the hamstring issue and such. But when he's healthy and he's 100%, and we kind of saw that on display yesterday, it's the speed, it's the makeup speed that he can bring to the table. Allows you, I think Eric Stokes is a guy with that speed that he brings, is a guy that kind of allows a defense what Jeff Hafley wants to do. It allows you to play that aggressive style of defense that, man on man up to the line of scrimmage, because he's got that speed, that makeup speed. He can hang with those guys. And I like the fact that yesterday he was matched up, it sounds like, quite a bit with Christian Watson, a big, fast receiver, boundary guy. Because when I look at this group, Eric Stokes seems to be like the perfect boundary guy. Jair can play out there too, no question about it. Eric Stokes, a little bit taller, a little bit bigger out there. But this defense, if Eric Stokes can stay healthy and he can be on the field, because it sure seems like he's the number 2 guy behind Jair, you add that speed element, you add Jair to it, I'm feeling good on the perimeter over there. If Eric Stokes can play like he did his rookie year, a little bit better from his rookie year, take that jump. But this cornerback group, I feel like they're one injury away to being kind of thin. Kind of thin. Whether it's Jair or whether it's Stokes. I feel like they're kind of thin in that. That's where I look at Kalen King as a guy that, man, if he can be that Carrington Valentine of last year, that would be a nice boost. But again, you're asking a lot from a 7th-round rookie. And I know the year prior he was kind of thought of maybe could he be a first-round pick, but didn't have a great, last year in college, which plummeted his draft stock. But playing at Penn State, he's gone up against some good receivers in college, especially at Ohio State, going up against Ohio State. But no question, there's this team, especially maybe on defensive side, a couple players. We're looking for some jumps this year. We're looking for some guys to make a jump this year. Devontae Wyatt, we're looking to make a jump. We want to see more. I think you can make a case for a guy like Quay Walker. It's like, okay, dude's racked up a lot of tackles. He's made some nice plays, but I think there's some people that just want a little bit more. Like, is he a game changing linebacker? And maybe we just haven't quite seen that. Maybe because he was playing out of position. Rashawn Gary putting his hand in the dirt now, taking another step, even though he's got that huge contract. But I think we're looking like, okay, can he take another step now? There's guys across this defense that I think we're looking at, like we're looking at this year with this new style of defense and maybe projecting for them to be, wow, they could be key contributors. And I think Eric Stokes is a part of that group. I think he's a part of that equation. Again, it's just, can he stay healthy and can he stay on the field? Has he turned that corner? Hopefully. Hopefully he has, because if he's healthy and he's on, that's going to be a big boost to this defense. All right, let's finish up with a little receive or defer coming up after these quick words. Fire up the grills this summer with the best brats in town. That's from Mike's Star Market in Eau Claire. Definitely try out their Bloody Mary brats over there. Bunch of different flavors, though, to try out. You can't go wrong with any of their flavors over there. Or maybe you want to put some burgers or some steaks in the grill or get the smokers going and put some ribs out there. Mike's has you covered. Stop on by on the west side of Eau Claire and load up, especially with some snack sticks or freeze-dried candy. They're happy farmers, aka Jolly Rancher ones. Grab a bag of those, and a portion goes to Backyard Dreams. Mike Star Market, always big time supporters for Backyard Dreams. So, hey, also too, youth teams. I know a lot of like baseball wise, or maybe we got some other stuff over there. You're looking for some swag, get some, raise some money, want some tees or want some hoodies and such. Check out Residence Branding Company. Residence Branding Company, the official swag provider of the program. But we got our swag cave over there if you want to get some merch like for the show or the podcast. I could send you that link over there too. But they could set you up with an online store to sell some of your products and such. I mean, you got Matt, you got Ben, you got Eric, you got Quinn. The entire team over there is absolutely fantastic to work with. Our tees, we've got some tees that we're handing out whenever we're out and about in the mobile man cave, all done by Residence Branding Company too. So we got some koozies that going to be part of the Casper Classic, all done by Resonance Branding Company as well. So check them out if you're interested, especially the youth teams over there, sports teams. If you want to, maybe sell some stuff, sell some swag, earn some money, Resonance Branding Company can help you out over there. No doubt about it. Visit resonancebrandingcompany.com for more details. All right, let's do some final call, by the way. Final call for any questions for Mr. Jake Boakes, our DNR warden buddy, who will be joining us at about 8:30 this morning. Text me your questions, 715-830-1912. I know you got them. There is no such thing as a dumb question, all right? Text them on over so I can get those to Jake here. Let's wrap up the hour with a little receiver defer. Big thanks to everybody who sent in some receive or defer questions this morning. Receive or defer. This is from Ben. Ben saying receive or defer. The Brewers will acquire a bat, a starter, and a relief pitcher before next week's deadline. I will defer that. I don't think they'll get a bullpen arm. I think they'll get a starter. I'm on the fence with the bat because I kind of want them to, but I don't know if they will. So regardless, though, I guess I'm deferring because I know there's talk about DL Hall coming back in August, but I feel like DL Hall, are they going to put him in the bullpen when he comes back? And then, you got Devin Williams who's coming back. So, I mean, there's only so much to go around there. So, when you get Devin back, you kind of push everybody back. Then maybe Trevor McGill goes to the eighth. You got Piamps. I mean, you got these other guys, Wilson, Koenig and all that. So I don't think they'll get a bullpen arm. I could be wrong. Could be completely wrong there. Maybe just want some fresher arms over there too. And maybe a guy that they can stick in AAA for a little bit. But in terms of immediate major league guys right now, I'll go starter, then a bat, then a bullpen if I'm putting it in order. Receive or defer. This one is from Jim, it looks like. First time texter. Appreciate that, Jim. Receive or defer. Jordan Love will have a new contract by Monday. I thought it was going to be yesterday. At this point, I have to defer it. I hope it's by the weekend. I really hope it's by the weekend. But now, how close are they? They keep saying they're close and he's at practice. Then you got the Athletics saying, they're optimistic that in a few weeks he could. I'm like, what? A few weeks isn't close. So I'll defer it, but I really hope I'm wrong. And I hope I'm Monday, or I hope I'm Monday. We're talking about it. I mean, it'd be nice for the fans who are going to family night next Saturday to have Jordan Love out on the field. participating. I think even if he wasn't, he'd still be on the field in that, but it'd be nice if he were participating and such, just from a fan's point, because all the kids, sometimes that's how the kiddos get to go to Lambeau Field and check out the Packers, is going to family night. So how about this? I'll alternate. I'll say he has a contract by family night next Saturday. Next Saturday. I'll alter that a bit. Receiver defer, Eric Stokes plays 14 games or more this year. Ooh. Ooh. I'll defer. I'm gonna go like 13. I'm gonna go like 13 games. It'll be double digit, but 14. I hope so. I hope it's 14, but I'll go 13. I know that's like one game underneath, but still, I just a little bit nervous with that one. A little bit nervous. Receiver defer, Rashawn Gary. This is from Brian. Receiver defer, Rashawn Gary has his first double-digit sack season this year. I'm going to receive that. And maybe I'm buying in a little bit to what he had to say about, hand in the dirt, teeing off, that sort of thing. But no, I think he's going to get his first double-digit sack season this year. I'll go, if the line, let's put the line at 11.5. If we put the line at 11.5, I say over. I'm going to go like 12, 13, maybe even 14, somewhere around there for Rashawn Gary. A lot of Packer ones here, and rightfully so. I get it. Receiver defer, Josh Jacobs rushes for over 1,500 yards this year. Oh, I'm going to say defer. I'll defer that one. I'll say over 1,000, but I don't think he'll get over 1,500. I don't think he'll get over 4. I'm thinking like maybe around 1,100. The biggest thing to me is like, okay, how much is the rookie going to play? How much is Marshawn Lloyd going to play? Matt LaFleur the other day was very, very complimentary of A.J. Dillon the other day. I mean, saying this is the best he has ever looked in his time there. Obviously, A.J. Dillon coming in probably with a lot to prove this year. But yeah, Matt LaFleur said A.J. Dillon looks the best he has ever seen him. So how does he factor? I mean, he actually, believe it or not, I think I was watching video of him yesterday at practice. I think maybe he looks a little bit slimmer. Maybe a little bit slimmer. So what's that? What's that percentage of carries going to look like between Jacobs and Dillon, and then Lloyd, Marshawn Lloyd? So I'll go under 15, but about 1,100 for receiver defer and such. So okay, what else do we got? One more. We got time for one more receiver defer here. Receive or defer. This is a Brewer one here. Got a couple, but I'm going to pick this one. Receive or defer. The Brewers. Okay. Receiver defer. The Brewers and that. I don't know if that's a little talk to text there. The Brewers, Reese Hoskins. Okay. I think I got it deciphered. Receiver defer. Reese Hoskins will hit over 25 home runs this year, I think is what you're asking. I don't have a name there, so I apologize. Yeah, why not? Hudson, what do you think? You don't think he will? Okay. Hudson says no. I'll say yes. Time's running out. And he just gave me a really awful glare there, like I'm an idiot. So, all right. Last call for your questions for Outdoor Tidbits. 715-830, or last call for your questions for Jake Boakes for our Outdoor Tidbits. Text me, 715-830-1912. 715-830-1912. 2 in. We got one more to go, baby. Stick around. We'll be back after these quick words. Final hour on this Thursday morning of July 25th. How y'all doing, everybody? Huh? Give me a thumbs up, give me a thumbs down, give me a thumbs sideways if you're just like, meh. It is what it is. But hey, big thanks for tuning in, however, wherever you may be tuning in from this morning. Give me a little shout out if you're kind of on the outer edges outside of the valley, outside the Chippewa Valley, where you listen to us from. Huh? Give me a little heads up over there. I want to give you a shout out and such. Coming up at the bottom of the hour here, we've got our outdoor tidbits with DNR Warden, Mr. Jake Boak. So we'll hit that up. Last call for your questions. You got to text them to me at 715-830-1912. Hey, before we get to a little more baseball talk here, have you been to the VFW Post 305 lately? Well, hey, let me tell you, they got some new and exciting things happening there. First, they got new kitchen hours every day, 7 a.m. to 8 p.m., except Fridays, which are 7 a.m. to 1 p.m. and 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. Plus, Saturday, Sunday, breakfast served till noon. Daily specials, Wednesday nights, Saturday nights, they have live music. Plus, patio has some new outdoor tables and chairs to go along with that beautiful view, baby. So get on down to the VFW Post 305, located at 1300 Star Avenue in Eau Claire. And speaking of the VFW Post 305, they got our good buddy Brian from the Card Collecting Club. He's got his the second annual free sports cards kickoff for kids, Sunday, September 8th, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. VFW Post 305. So if you want to learn a little bit more about that, check out our latest episode of the Man Cave podcast, brought to you by Hy-Vee and Toyson Ford. Chat a little bit with Brian at Ultimate Authentics, and he talked about that event and cards in general too. So getting the mobile man cave out on the roads. Big thanks to Carpet City Flooring Center, the Elbow Room, Woods and Water Realty, and Toyson Ford, partners for the mobile man cave. We've been asking this morning with the Christian Yelich news out there that he potentially could be done for the year. Should the Brewers go out there and make a play and get another bat, another power bat, another left-handed power bat to put in there? Should they do that? Has that moved up in terms of the priority? I still feel like it should be another starter. Like, they've got options in the outfield. I think the biggest question mark is, okay, do they need a little bit more power from an outfielder? Because you got Sal Frelick, he's not going to get you a whole lot of power. You got Blake Perkins, he's not going to get you a ton of power. Garrett Mitchell's not going to get you a ton of power. Joey Weaver showed power last year, but he strikes out a lot and is pretty inconsistent from the plate. You got Jackson Cherio, who's showing some power there too, but do you want to put more pressure on the shoulders of the young rookie? So should they go after a rental player? Do they bring back Mark Canha, for crying out loud, to get you a little bit more power over there? So what do you think they should do? Or do you think, like, no, stand pat, play the younger guys, see what they got with them, and then maybe that boosts their stock for maybe some trades in the offseason or such? The response has kind of been all over. We kind of made that an informal question, if you will, poll question of the day. So it's been, yes. If you hear that noise in the background, I apologize, but they're working on some stuff outside the wall here. But we've had responses all over the board. We've had people say yes, they need another power at bat to plug in at that 3 spot. Go out there and get a rental power guy for just the rest of this year. I'm kind of putting everybody's answers into these categories here. But that's kind of been one side. The other side has been, let's see what we got with these younger guys, play the younger guys, get them more at-bats, get them more opportunities, run with what we got. And then you've had this other group of listeners, texters saying it's moved up to number 2 in the priority, and it's still starting pitcher. I know it was a part of our receive or defer. a little bit ago, like, and I kind of put it in order of starter, an at bat, and then bullpen guy. I would like to see another veteran bat come into play now. I think you got to add a little bit more depth there, especially if you can get it from the left side of the plate. If you can get that power bat from the left side of the plate, I think you got to go out there and get that. And Yeah, have it be a rental guy. Now we don't know. It's not confirmed. It's not 100% that Christian Yelich is done for the season. But when you look at the comments and when you kind of look at the stuff that, he said before the game yesterday, and you kind of hear Pat Murphy's comments on the situation, doesn't sound great. It doesn't sound great. Christian Yelich said everybody plays through stuff, but sometimes you just can't. It's kind of where we're at this point. Your body won't cooperate with you. For me, aside from when I broke my knee, this has been the one thing that I've had to deal with. I've been able to play at a high level, but it's one of those things that's held me back a little. So that's where it's frustrating. What are you going to do? But also, though, there's a potential that I can finally get on the other side of this when all is said and done. We'll see. It remains to be seen, I guess. Pat Murphy, when he was asked whether the development could impact the Brewers' strategy ahead of the trade deadline next Tuesday. Pat Murphy said, "What do you suggest we do? Go get Vladimir Guerrero Jr.? I mean, for what Yelly does for this lineup in this clubhouse, I don't know that there's too many players who can replace him. I mean that. He's got a special niche here with us. It's a huge loss, and we've had some huge losses this year. I can name their names if you'd like me to repeat the list, but this is huge no matter how serious. Whatever number of games we lose him for, it's serious." And there are some talks. Christian Yelich is going to be seeing a spine specialist today, but there are talks that he could undergo season-ending surgery to fix that issue. And you hear Yelich in some of his comments before the game yesterday to talk about trying to get over this hump and trying to, maybe looking at this as an option so he doesn't have to hopefully go through this anymore. Now he's 32 years old, though, too. He's not a young 20-some-year-old kid, but it sucks. I mean, Christian Yelich was having a fantastic season. Is having a fantastic season. I don't want to say was yet. Is having a fantastic season. And, I mean, batting average tops in the National League, bats the All-Star game. I mean, he was such a pivotal player in that lineup, offensively in that lineup. And if he's going to be out, it's a huge loss offensively. And even if the Brewers go out there and acquire somebody, whether it's, do they bring back Jesse Winker of the Nationals? Do they bring back Mark Canha? Do they acquire Taylor Ward from the Angels? Do they really go for it and try to go for Luis Robert Jr. from the White Sox? That's going to cost a lot. Whether they get one of those guys, it's going to take everybody else on that roster, on that Brewers roster, to step up their game just a little bit more. That includes Contreras. That includes Bryce Terang. That includes Willie Damas. That includes Rhys Hoskins. That includes Joey Ortiz. That includes the pitching staff. And maybe this injury, if he is going to be missing some extended time, and he's going to be missing the rest of the season, that I also think that makes it even more important for the Brewers to go out there and acquire a starting pitcher. It makes it more important for them to go out there and acquire a starting pitcher with Yelich's injury. Because you're going to be putting more pressure on that group now, too, assuming your offense might take a little bit of a hit. It sucks. It sucks. But season not over yet. We'll see how they respond to this. But hopefully we'll get to Brewers have the off day today, so I don't know if we'll find out anything from the Yelich standpoint. Might not be until tomorrow when they're back in Milwaukee. And they get to talk to the local media and such there. Brewers off day today, and they'll get set to take on Miami tomorrow for a 3-game series. And then you've got the Braves, who also lost. Braves lost one of their star players, Ronald Acuna Jr., earlier this year too. But the Braves coming to Milwaukee at the end of the month here before, and that's right during the trade deadline too. So, your thoughts? If you haven't chimed in on it, you can let us know. Hit me up with a text, 715-830-1912. All right, let's take a quick break. Just a quick one. I want to talk a little bit more green and gold here. Then we'll get to some outdoor tidbits with Jake Bolks here. So, really quick break. Change it up. Get back to a little green and gold chats coming up after these quick words. If you're in the market for looking for a new home, or maybe your new forever home, or maybe you're looking for a parcel of land to build your cabin, have a camper on, a little hunting land, whatever the case may be, make sure you check out your real estate store. That's Woods and Water Realty. Just head to woodsandwater.com. See all the listings over there, whether again it's you're looking for a new home or you're looking for that parcel of land maybe to build on or just have your own hunting escape. Woodsandwater.com. Check them out, woodsandwater.com. Woods and Water Realty, your real estate store. Oh, interesting piece. I had a chance to kind of skim through it. It's not that long of a read by any means, but this dropped this morning. Jory Epstein, who's a senior reporter, Yahoo Sports, she's been spending the week at Packers training camp. And why the Packers are ready to anoint Jordan Love, their franchise quarterback, inside the hold-in week at Green Bay and the rising stakes. I'm not going to read the thing. It's not story time or anything like that. But I thought there was an interesting quote from Matt LaFleur that probably solidified some of the stuff that we had been wondering about, with him, with Jordan Love last year and the play at the beginning of the season. And Matt LaFleur admitted and said that, they got a little too conservative at the beginning of the year. Quote, early on, you're trying to protect him, protect everybody, quite frankly, not just him, but all the youth. We got a little too conservative. The mindset we always say around here with the coaches is shoot or shoot. We started doing that. Our guys were making plays, and it obviously served us well down the stretch. So, flashback to last year's season, and when we were kind of discussing this and that first half of the season, first couple months of the season and such, a lot of us were kind of wondering, all right, are they holding it back? Play calls kind of seemed that way. Yeah, Matt LaFleur admitted that they got a little conservative in their play calling. They let it rip. They opened up the playbook, sort of thing, and kind of took off after that. Josh Myers, the center. Center and quarterback have pretty good relationship, right? They have to have a really good relationship. But Josh Myers, some quotes from him about the hold-in from Jordan Love. He said he's just out there being positive. It's awesome to sit there and BS with him. Also went on to say that I know he doesn't want to be sitting out. Like, he does not want that. He's just out there being positive. Rookie quarterback Michael Pratt's also saying that Jordan's really helped him in his film study. This is from Jory, quote, he'll be like, hey, Mike, who's the O-line got? Who are they working to? What's the protection? Jordan has done a great job asking me tough questions. So, again, we talked about taking that leadership role, taking that next step to being a leader with this team, especially with Aaron Jones gone. That's a huge loss in terms of the leadership within that locker room, within that team. Other guys got to step in and fill that void, one of them being Jordan Love. Last year, coming as your first year, and I think quarterbacks always are naturally viewed as they got to be that leader, and rightfully so. But after last year's success, and then when you enter this year with the high expectations and you lose a leader like Aaron Jones, that need for that leader to fill that void, still with a very young team, there's got to be more on the shoulders for Jordan Love to fill that leadership void. And it sounds like he's doing it. Sounds like he's trying to be as involved as he possibly can in these practices without actually physically practicing. But the piece also ends with a quote from Goody saying, every day he misses is not great for our football team. We certainly understand the decisions he's making, but yeah, this time is really, really important for our entire team. Certainly for him as well, and we want him out there. We like him out there. We expect him out there. So maybe a question that I'll throw out to you, Packers fans, and I'm curious to see where you're at on this, so please text me. At what point do you start to get nervous? Do you start to get annoyed? Do you start to get upset if Jordan's not out there? If he's not out there by this date, you start to get nervous, you start to get mad, you start to get frustrated, you start to get annoyed. When is that point? Is it after the first preseason game? Is it after family night? Is it before family night? Is it next week? Is it 3 weeks from now? At what point do you start to like, okay, dude's got to get in and get some work and start to continue to develop this chemistry with some of those guys? Yes, he's had that chemistry with a lot of those younger guys last year, but you know, there's film out on him this year for opposing defensive coordinators to look at, to scout on. He needs to get on that field, needs to practice, and needs to work on some of that stuff to catch, to keep these opposing defensive coordinators on their heels, to keep these opposing defenses on their heels. So at what point do you start to get a little bit nervous, frustrated, or annoyed if Jordan's not out there? Let me know. Do you think we still got, still a little bit here? I'll be honest with you, I'd kind of like him out next week. I'd like him out there next week. I really wish, and we'll never know. I honestly feel like we will probably never know. But I would really like it if, just being me being, selfish in that, I'd like to know, like, what is the major hang up with this? Is it years? Is it guaranteed money? What is it? All right, let's take a break. We're going to have some outdoor tidbits with Mr. Jake Bulks. All right. Thank you for the questions that we got. If you have any more, you'll have to hold on to them. Make sure you text them to us, all right? That's the quickest way and the preferred way to get those on over to Jake. So big thanks to all of you who texted in. We're going to take that break, and then we'll have some outdoor tidbits coming up after these quick words.
Electrical upgrade done well. Angie's been connecting homeowners with skilled pros for nearly 30 years, so we know the difference between done and done well. Hire high-quality certified pros at Angie.com.
All right, when it comes to getting life insurance for your family, a lot of excuses can get in the way. But ask yourself this: if something were to happen to me, who would pay the mortgage, the kids' education, and the other bills? Then forget the excuses and check out Ethos Life, the online, easy way to get life insurance in 10 minutes. Ethos has rates that you can afford, like a $500,000 policy for a 40-year-old male starting at $1 a day or $30 a month, with a few health questions and no medical exam. Get your free quote right now at checkethos.com. That's checkethos.com. Not available in all states. Rates do vary.
You know our trusted partner, TireRack.com, for their fast, free shipping, free road hazard protection, convenient installation options, and their great selection of the best tires, like the highly consumer-rated Goodyear Assurance Weather Ready. But did you know they sell other automotive products? Wheels, brakes, and suspension, just to name a few. Everything you need to elevate your drive. You can go to TireRack.com/Dan. That's TireRack.com/Dan. TireRack.com, the way tire buying should be.
This August 31st, lace up for a cause at the 43rd Annual Buckshot Run in Eau Claire, benefiting Special Olympics Wisconsin. Come to Carson Park for a day of fun and fundraising. Whether you walk, run, or cheer, your support makes a difference. Register now at SpecialOlympicsWisconsin.org. Together, you can empower athletes and build inclusive communities. Don't miss out. Visit SpecialOlympicsWisconsin.org today. Brought to you by Special Olympics Wisconsin and this radio station. Looking for a career path with flexibility and great pay and benefits? Go to progressive.com/careers and apply online today. That's progressive.com/careers.
His words can move you. Seriously, they could pick you up and carry you to the other side of the room. Or maybe that was the poltergeist again.
They're here.
The Dan Kasper Show, weekday mornings from 6 to 9.
If the kiddos at home have been kind of ransacking your food pantry and the freezers because no school, so they've been snacking out and having all the meals around the house, you want to load up but also save some money, go visit our good friends at Hy-Vee in Eau Claire. The best deals in the area for all your grocery needs at the best prices. Plus, you can save with some fuel perks over there from Hy-Vee. Save at the pump too. So buy your groceries at the best deals, but also save some money at the perk at the gas pumps with Hy-Vee fuel perks. So go over there, grab some Dan Good burgers while you're over there too. Put those on the grill if you want, and then grab some snacks for the kiddos over there, so you can restock those food pantries for the rest of this summer. Oh, you know what time it is.
Answering your questions and giving you the tips you need to be successful and safe in the outdoors. It's time for your Outdoor Tidbits. Have a question you'd like answered by Jake? Send it to us, and we'll ask for you.
We are wrapping up the month of July already, believe it or not, and heading into August here, which, Jake, I don't know about you, but when I get to August and we talk about August, that's when it starts to hit me that hunting season's right around the corner, man.
Yeah, no doubt. Especially with the cool mornings the last couple of days.
Mm-hmm.
You go for walking and it just feels like the fall.
I know, right?
Whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, I don't know, but it's starting to kind of feel like the fall.
That's my favorite season, so I say it's a good thing there, dude. So football.
I do like it. I do like it, but it just always reminds you how fast the summers go.
Yep. So, hey, speaking of hunting season, we got a question, and I know we talked about this before, but it's probably a good refresher. And we talked a little bit about bear hunters last week, but somebody had texted in: can bear hunters run their dogs, train their dogs wherever, or do they still need permission from property owners?
Yeah, so we did hit it a little bit last week, but we didn't go too in depth on it. But when it comes to hound training, or bear training or bear dog training, you can do it anywhere in the state. So you can run it on any public land, and then you can run them on any private land where you have permission. So obviously it's just like, people walking through private land. You or your dogs can't go on private property of another without consent. But starting July 1st, anywhere in the state, which includes, all the way down to Milwaukee, basically, you can train your dogs anywhere. When after August 31st, so starting in September, that does change. You can't train them, you can't run them or train them south of 64. Basically, you can only hunt with them north of 64. So once September comes, it changes a little bit, but July, August, you can train them, run them, whatever, anywhere in the state.
Okay, so And obviously, I would assume, like with hunting wise, it's normal need permission on property owners and all that.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yep, hunting, fishing, trapping, anything like that, going for walks, you have to have like consent to go on someone else's private land, or if it's private land but like open to public use, there's got to be like a sign or something stating that the public's allowed. There are pieces of property around the state where a private landowner owns it, but they want to open it up to the public without like selling it to the state or joining some sort of program. So there are some of those properties. They usually have like a community like parking spot, and they'll have their own signs up saying private property, access it with permission, respect it or it'll get closed, that kind of thing.
Gotcha. We also had a texter that asked Jake, if someone tells me that I can't fish on public land while I'm fishing, should I call the DNR or do I call the police department?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So, anytime someone confronts you for like fishing harassment, hunting harassment, trapping harassment, anytime you're out legally hunting, fishing, trapping, or even boating, snowmobiling, ATV, and anytime someone's harassing you and it's related to the outdoors or the natural resources, there's kind of two answers to it. The first answer is if you ever feel like your life is endangered or your health or safety, we always say call 911 first, because they always have their dispatchers going. They always have someone working, and we might be working too, and we'll hear come over the radio and respond with them. But if you ever think that you're endangered, your human health, safety, stuff like that, always call 911 first, and we'll respond with the deputies. If you're like on a trout stream and continually you always walk past this one property where the guy comes out and yells at you, says you can't be there, but doesn't get aggressive or come down to the stream bank or anything like that, then we'd encourage you just to call our tip line at 1-800-TIP-WDNR. Call that number. They'll take all the information, then they'll send it out to the local warden to follow up with you on it.
Does that happen often, at least in your experience?
Yeah, hunter harassment is probably the hunter harassment and fishing harassment on like streams or rivers that go through private properties are probably the two biggest ones. But for sure, hunter harassment around. Unfortunately, it's usually like a landowner dispute, whether the neighbors don't like each other, they question the property lines, one person's hunting too close to the other property line, even though it's legal, stuff like that. It usually ends up being stuff like that. And then people, you get a little too rambunctious or caught up in the moment and do something, whether it's legal, illegal. Some people just try to harass the others, and we try to work through it without citations and get it to a better spot. But sometimes if someone's really harassing someone else, it's a pretty big fine, and it can escalate into other offenses.
Gotcha. Really quick, we had a last second question that came in just a little bit ago. But they were wondering, Jay, can you leave ladder stands on public land for hunting?
So there are some places in northern Wisconsin where a few years ago they kind of did like I don't know if experiment's the right word, but they're kind of testing it out where you can have stands up on state lands. They got to be totally marked, and you can only have them for a certain amount of days on certain lands. Unfortunately, I haven't really worked up there. I haven't had any complaints in my career with it and had to enforce it, so I don't know the logistics or the regulations with that specifically. But I know up north there are some certain situations where you can. Basically, for sure, south of 64, Chippewa County, anywhere where we are down here, any state lands, you cannot leave ladder stands, hang-on stands, anything like that on the property overnight. If you bring one out in the morning and you have it marked with like your DNR customer ID number, you go home for lunch, come back in the evening, hunt and take it down, that's okay. But it cannot stay up overnight. And those are for state lands. So if you're hunting county lands, Eau Claire County, Forest, Chippewa, the Clark, they all have their own different rules. So you'd have to look at their county forestry or county land use department's website and find out what you can and can't do on those those are their rules, so we can't enforce them. Eau Claire copies us, the DNR, the state, as in you can't leave stands overnight. You can leave cameras if they're labeled and stuff like that. But I do know like Clark has, I'm not 100% sure on the rule, but I'm pretty sure it's like a week before whatever the hunting season is, you can put your stand out, and then you got to remove it after the season. But that's why you got to look up their regulations before you start leaving your stands on different public properties.
Gotcha. One more quick, if you don't mind, that kind of came in
Yeah.
here. Said sorry for the late question here, but the other night I saw what looked like a bass boat on Half Moon Lake, but they were just using a troller. Is that legal for Half Moon Lake?
That is legal for Half Moon. So just as like a disclaimer, Half Moon Lake is governed. They got a city ordinance that restricts the use of combustion or motor engines on the lake. So I can't enforce it. So anytime I get complaints or hotlines on it, I have to ship it to the police department. So if you do see someone ripping around on a motorboat tubing or something, I would always encourage you to call the non-emergency line for Eau Claire. But they can do that for sure. You can put a regular boat out there as long as you're using the trolling motor or paddles or whatnot, and you're not using the motor, you can have it out there.
All right, good stuff there too, Jake.
Yeah.
Anything else before I let you go that you kind of want to throw out I know we got tags that are going to be coming up here,
Yeah.
in August too. So
Yeah, no, just kind of hit on last week. Bobcat Fisher applications are due soon. The bonus tags are going to be late, mid-August. We're a month and 5-6 days away from the waterfall season, where you're going to need a federal license and, waterfall stamp and early season licenses and state licenses. So, if you're not one to just buy the patron's license at the beginning of the year, definitely start being proactive and getting online and buying licenses, or going down to the service center and talking with the nice guys and girls down there, and they can tell you what you got, what you need, and everything like that.
good stuff as always, Jake. We appreciate the time, buddy. Stay
Appreciate
safe,
it.
and we'll catch up with you again soon. Okay, sir?
Yeah, that sounds great. You have a great week.
You too. There you go, Jake Boakes, conservation warden for the state of Wisconsin. Hey, we're going to take our final break, and then we got some picks and predicts coming up here. But we're going to load up another matchup in our bracket challenge here. Right now, we got our first matchup in the Sweet 16, Chuck Cecil versus Amon Green. Chuck Cecil is leading in the Facebook votes, but Amon Green with a very comfortable lead in Twitter votes. So we'll see how it all pans out here. But we're going to put up another one on Facebook and Twitter here in just a few minutes. I'm going to do it during the break here, so I'll tell you what matchup that is. But make sure you're on Facebook and Twitter and you are voting. So we'll take that break. We'll be back for the final segments after these quick words. All right, our next matchup is now up on Facebook and Twitter for our bracket challenge for the most underrated Wisconsin sports athlete of all time, as nominated by you and as voted on by you, the listener. A couple golfers. We're going to the Bucks / Open region there. We got Andy North taking on Steve Stricker. Andy North taking on Steve Stricker. Who is going to move on to the Elite Eight? Well, that's up to you. So head over to our Facebook group page and on Twitter to vote. As I mentioned before the break, looks like it's tight. I think I think math is hard, but Amon Green has got out to a slight lead over Chuck Cecil. Chuck Cecil's leading in Facebook votes, but Amon Green has a comfortable lead on Twitter right now. So, but we'll find out the winner tomorrow morning. We've got, I saw again, Diana Rossini had tweeted out a little bit ago. Packers fans and many around the league are waiting to hear if Jordan Love's new big contract is complete. Based on my conversations today, it's all making progress and heading there, just not done at this time. So, again, what are the holdups, especially with the whole off season here? Like, what are the holdups? I don't get it. So, all right, let's do some picks and predicts. Brought to you by the Elbow Room, located right next to the Banbury Place in Eau Claire. Got a meat raffle coming up here with the Elbow Room here too. So, want to tell you a little bit about that with the meat raffle for the Elbow Room. We've got today 5 p.m. I wanted to make sure it was today. Today 5 p.m. Got a meat raffle going on at the Elbow Room. It's going to be a thing once a month over there. So, Garrett also wanted me to say, if you want to say this, not that it matters, he'll be spinning the wheel. So he'll be spinning the wheel over there too. So, but tonight, 5 p.m., the Elbow Room, got a meat raffle going on. So get on over there, take advantage of that. And then, go grab a beverage too. Grab a beverage and hopefully you can win some meat over there. That's a heck of a deal. If Garrett over there from the Elbow Room is going to be doing that once a month sort of thing, heck yeah. Take advantage of that. No doubt about it. G-Man's probably going to head on over there, Garrett, so you better be prepared over there. So, but go grab yourself a nice, cool beverage too while you're watching some of the games on the tube over there, checking out all the awesome swag up on the walls. Garrett's got an awesome collection over there. I'm definitely jealous of a lot of that stuff over there. If you haven't checked it out, you won't be disappointed. So let's do some baseball picks. We don't have a Brewers game. They got the off day today, but we got Padres versus the Nationals. Give me the Padres for that game. We got Baltimore, Miami. Give me Baltimore. Detroit, Cleveland. Give me Cleveland. Tampa Bay versus Toronto. I think, was it Brandon, our good buddy Brandon, said last week he's kind of rooting against Toronto because the further they fall, more likely they could trade some of the pieces that maybe could be good picks for the Brewers. And I know Brandon going to have a list tomorrow. That might be a good thing. I might reach out to him, see if he's going to add some, or maybe we'll be surprised. But he said he was going to have a list of some potential targets for the trade deadline for the Brewers. I wonder if that changes now for him with the Christian Yelich injury. But I'm gonna go Toronto tonight. Dodgers, Giants. I'll go Dodgers, Braves, Mets. Now this is becoming kind of interesting. You got the Braves 54-46. The Mets, sweeping the Yankees in the Subway Series there. Now 53-48. They're moving on up. I'm gonna go Mets. Tyrone Taylor had himself a night the other day there too. So, former Brewer there. But yeah, Mets now just a half game back from the Braves. 7-3 in their last 10. 5 games over 500. Yeah. So, what else do we got here? Yeah, I think that's about those are the games. So those are your picks and predicts. Again, brought to you by the Elbow Room. Go check out the meat raffle that they got going on tonight. Tonight, 5 p.m. And then share it with the rest of the class if you are a winner. Just saying. All right. Wanted to take a look at some of the latest standings. Where are we at for this wild card race here? So we've got Yankees are still in that number 1 spot for the American League. The Twins, and then you got Kansas City. So those are your top 3. Boston's 1 back. Seattle's 3.5 back. Tampa now at 500, 4.5 back. And then you got Texas. Texas has won 4 in a row. They're just 5.5 back right now. So National League, as we mentioned, Mets now just they're close. They're inching closer. You got the Cardinals mixed in there. You got the Padres, the Cardinals. I mean, the slight advantage in win percentage. They got a 520 win percentage. You got the Padres at a 519. Diamondbacks are just a half game out. Pittsburgh's just a game out now. Cincinnati's 4. Giants 4.5. And then the Cubs are 5 back. So, I mean, you got a couple teams. We knew Washington. It sounded like they were going to be sellers. Cubs sounds like they're not going to be buyers. I don't know if they're going to be sellers necessarily. But, man, Pirates now just a game back, too. They're 2 games over 500. So, might be a big weekend for some of these teams to decide if they're going to be active at the trade deadline or not. So, all right. What else do we got here? Let's wrap some things up here. This morning we talked plenty of Brewers with the Christian Yelich news of him potentially being done for the season. Maybe we'll find out more info today. He's supposed to be seeing a spine specialist and probably going to be going. I don't know if there'll be like second, third, fourth opinions and all that, but there is reportedly the possibility he could undergo season-ending surgery, and his fantastic season would be over. I don't know. It's way too early. I don't know if he would have surgery now. If he's done for the regular season, could he return to postseason? No idea. I don't even think we know exactly what the issue is. But if we get Dr. Crow on tomorrow, we find some details. That's definitely going to be a big topic. We'll chat with Dr. Crow about tomorrow for our Chippewa Valley Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Inside the Training Room segment. So we'll see. But definitely, it seems like a lot of you, when we ask that question, should it move up in the priority list of the Brewers maybe acquiring a bat by the trade deadline? I would say the majority of you said yes. Now there's a difference between how big of a priority it is and not. I mean, still it's starting pitcher according to a lot of you, but yeah, you probably got it as a close second. If I'm just kind of putting everybody's responses together and coming out with one answer, it's the majority saying it's probably a close second for another bat right now. But we'll see how the next few days play out here for the for the Crew. So Packers wise, we talked a little bit about camp yesterday. It looked like Eric Stokes, that was his day. The day before it was Rashawn Gary having himself a big day. And then yesterday it was Eric Stokes' day out there. And we talked about how important he and a few other players and kind of a big year for a lot of these guys, their third, fourth years entering the league, and just kind of talking about how, it's maybe time to kind of make that jump. And for one, though, just freaking stay healthy, right? Just stay healthy. So talked a little bit about Jordan Love and where that contract status is at. We're still waiting and waiting. So, but hopefully soon. What point do you start to get nervous? At what point do you start to get a little bit nervous, a little frustrated, a little annoyed? Huh? What do you think? Where are you at with that? So, but I hope it's next week at the latest. But I'm not too confident in that. I don't feel it. Hopefully I'm wrong though. Hopefully I'm wrong. What else do we have? Big thanks to Jake for our outdoor tidbits that we just got done there. If you missed that, a good reminder, if you missed any of our conversations with whether it's Jake for outdoor tidbits or Dr. Crow for Inside the Training Room, our business, the sports segments, local sports roundup, we put those segments up in the Man Cave podcast. All right, so that's why you should follow and subscribe to the Man Cave podcast. That way, because sometimes we'll add a couple episodes a day, and that way they'll pop up there so you can check them out. So you can check those out, or the YouTube page always has them. You can replay it over there too. Follow, subscribe to the YouTube page. there for free. That's all free, man. So do it up, right? Just do it up. So, all right, coming up tomorrow, we'll have Brandon Berg on. We'll do a little local sports roundup. Speaking of which, we'll talk a lot of Brewers. Curious to see if his, do we call it wish list, want list, keep an eye on type of list there for some players. Curious to see if that changed at all with the pending Christian Yelich news there. But Brandon has been working on a list of potential trade targets for the crew, for the Brew Crew. So we're going to hit that up tomorrow, get his thoughts on that. Obviously, we'll talk a little bit more football and such. Hopefully, we've got a Jordan Love thing to talk about. I mean, come on now. Let's get to this so we can actually talk about, season at hand and other stuff besides contract stuff. So get to that. Hopefully, we'll catch up with Dr. Crow for a little inside the training room and get his thoughts on the Christian Yelich situation. Hopefully, maybe we'll get some more details and actually what the injury is. So get a little bit more of a deeper background on it, if you will. So, but hopefully we'll catch up with him coming up tomorrow too. So those polls are up. Those polls are up for our bracket challenge. Make sure you get them on in, or get your votes on in. Facebook, look up the Facebook group page for the Love of the Game. Request to join. You'll get approved by somebody. Vote over there, or on Twitter at DANKASPER. Looks like Steve Stricker is out to an early lead for our latest poll question out there. So, and it looks like Amon Green's increasing his lead on Twitter too. So, all right, DP and the Danettes, they're going to be up. They're going to be up next here. They're going to be up next. Enjoy the rest of your day. Maybe get out there. Enjoy the weather too. So, Casper Classic, we still have a couple teams ready to go, or open, I should say, for that 7:30 slot. Okay. Time's running out though. You want to get that team in there. Hit the course with Surveyor Sam and such. Head to sportstalk1051.com and get your team in, okay? Have a good rest of your day. Let's do it again tomorrow morning, 6 a.m. Talk to you then.